What took place in 1914 was a business decision by the British. And, you know, it's interesting to note that the Southern Protectorate of Nigeria was actually a property, in quote, a property of the Royal Niger Company, owned by a man called Tubman Goldie. Tubman Goldie was no more than a British wayfarer whose antecedent was not beautiful one. And to think what developed into Nigeria was the property, or was the geographical entity owned by the Royal Niger Company, which was passed over to the man called Lord Lugard. The decision of Lord Lugard to join the Southern Protectorate and the Northern Protectorate was simply because of the need to bring the resources of the Northern Nigeria and the Southern Nigeria together. And that's why I said the amalgamation of Nigeria was a business decision. It was an economic decision. Now, when two marriage partners are joined together, no agreement, no discussion, you definitely know that that kind of marriage will fail. And so the marriage called Nigeria is a failed marriage from the onset, because the two sides involved were not part of the discussion. They were not part of the decision. It was a decision hosted on the people of Nigeria. So basically, anywhere that has happened in the world, any part of the world where this kind of situation has happened, the people have come together, sat down, and taken a decision. Now, this has happened in Germany. It has happened in the USSR. It has happened in the former Soviet Union. It has happened in different places in the world where people sat down and said, come, let's negotiate our unity. And so when I had the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, President Muhammad Buhari, said 2-3 days ago that the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable, I laughed. I laughed because that is a statement that can only be made by someone who doesn't understand history. This unity of Nigeria must be negotiated. That is the only way forward for Nigeria. The unity must be negotiated. Nobody is saying that Nigeria should split. Nobody is saying that Nigeria should cease to exist as an entity. The deed has been done. But can we for once sit down and look at this marriage again and ask ourselves, what are the terms and conditions of this marriage so that we can move forward? But trying to pretend that, well, the marriage can continue, whether the husband likes it, whether the spouses involved like it or not, let the marriage just continue. Something terrible is about to happen. So I, for once as an historian, I recommend that the 1914 amalgamation be revisited. The peoples of Nigeria must sit down and negotiate this unity. That is the way forward.
When you look at, so are you saying that the Nigeria, the nation Nigeria, or the name called Nigeria, is a scam, as everybody has been saying?
Well, Pastor Femi, if I go back into history and I bring out the personalities of the people who gave birth to this, geographical entity, who gave this, who put together this contraption called Nigeria, the likes of Tubman Goldie, the likes of Lord Lugard, you'll feel sorry for Nigeria. You'll feel sorry for Nigeria. These are not men of integrity. These are not men who will have made a mark in their own countries. They wouldn't have made a mark in their own country. Tubman Goldie, for example, was said to have come from a family of smugglers, a Scottish family of smugglers. I don't want to go into all that history. So if these are the kind of people who come together and say, you guys are called Nigeria, then scam is an understatement.
Yeah. So now that the way we are right now, I remember everybody kind of talking about this referendum about we need to talk about resolution or restructuring the old thing right now. So I've heard people giving an idea, and there is one that they did one time, and they don't want to read what is in that restructuring. So what do you think? Without if they come out today to say, okay, this is what we have in that restructuring, so would that help Nigeria? Would that still make Nigeria to stay together? Would that still be able to put us to in a place where we're supposed to be? So what is your own thought about that?
Now, even the agreement made, the amalgamation and the 1960 Constitution encouraged regionalism. Encouraged each of the three regions, existing at that time to develop at its own pace, having its own region. We need to return back to true federalism. Nigeria is not a country. It's not just a country. Nigeria is a consolidation of nations, nation states coming together to be called a country called Nigeria. There's a need for each of these nation states to return back to the table and have an agreement. We need to have true federalism. What we are practicing now is not federalism. We are practicing unitary system and we are calling it federalism. This is not federalism. In a federal state, the units that come together in a federal state, they have their own, I don't want to use the word independence, but to a large extent, they are independent of one another. And that's exactly what we operated before the military came in 1966. So we need to return back to that true federalism where the Western region, the Eastern region, or whatever name you want to call them, can take their own decisions. A situation where the federal government is controlling virtually every aspect of the country is not going to work. The federal government is controlling education. The federal government is controlling health. The federal government is controlling road construction. The federal government is controlling air travel. Virtually everything is under the control of the federal government. It will work, and it's not working. So we need to sit down. We need to go back to the drawing table, or if possible, go back to what was working. It worked before 1966, at least to a large extent, it was working. We saw what the Western region was able to do at that time. We saw what the Eastern region was able to do. We saw what the Northern region were able to do. Let each region develop at its own pace. What we have now is a situation where a region is telling another region, wait for me, I have not yet developed. Stay. Stop your own development. Or the pace of your own development is faster than mine. Therefore, wait for me. No, it can't work. One generation cannot be waiting for another generation. So everybody must develop at its own pace. If a particular region of the country say, this is what we want to do, this is the way we want to run our own life, so be it. Not that a region will be enforcing on another region what it thinks or what that region thinks is good. Nobody has a right to think for another person as per what is good. Each nation, each region should take a decision, should take its destiny into its hands and grow. It will even encourage competition, healthy competition. The East will develop, the West will develop, the North will develop. But the situation we have now is one region or any region can decide to say, okay, let's go to sleep. Whether we work, whether we develop or we don't develop, there's a common pulse, there's a national pulse that we can all draw from. That national pulse is a problem, and we don't need it. Each region must develop at its own pace, Pastor Femi.
Now, if you look at the way they are talking about developing and everybody, and right now, most people are saying, it's better for us to go on our separate ways. How do you see that possible?
Well, this is the situation of things. Any marriage that does not encourage dialogue will end up in a divorce. Any marriage that does not encourage dialogue will end up in a divorce. The reason why we are able to keep our marriages is because it's not because we don't have disagreements with our wives. Yes, we have disagreement with our wives, but we sit down and we talk. And then we disagree to agree. We decide to, and that's why our marriages are lasting. That's why marriages last. But if somebody says, oh, there's no need to discuss, this is not negotiable, it's not negotiable. What are you talking about? It must be negotiated. It has to be negotiable. Human relation is negotiable. Everything about human relations is negotiable. I'm relating with Pastor Femi Ojo today because I choose to. I am not under a compulsion. I'm not under any compulsion. Pastor Femi Ojo is not under any compulsion to relate with me. It's a free will. It's a choice. And that's how the nation can move forward. We have to negotiate our unity. If that is not going to happen, I foresee a breakup. I foresee a breakup, no matter how long. It might not be in our generation, but it will happen one day. Yes, Emeka Odumegojuku tried it. It failed. What it tried at that time is resurrecting today in IPOP. It's coming back again. Because what we did in 1967, 69, after the Civil War, was that we buried the issue. Oh, let's resolve the 3C, the 3 R's: reconciliation, reconstruction, and what have you. But the real issue was buried. And that's the need for each of the regions, the 3 nations, or let me say the nations in Nigeria. I wouldn't even call them 3. You might be shocked to know that Nigeria has more than 3 nations. These nations must agree either to stay together or go separate ways, or at best have a loose union, the kind that exists in the United States, where each state have its own police, they have their own educational system, and so on and so forth. We need to go back to that true federalism if Nigeria must survive as a nation. So if dialogue is not encouraged, if this is not negotiated, I foresee a breakup.
When you look at it, the message that President gave during the Independence Day, and there is a one particular line that says, since 1999, all the president among all the presidencies, that his own time has been the best time so far. So, what is your opinion based on that statement?
Unfortunately, I'm a member of the president's party for now. I belong to the president's party, but I can tell you, I would rather talk as a Nigerian than talk as a party man. If I must talk as a true Nigerian, I would disagree completely with Mr. President. And I will tell him that Nigeria has never had it this bad. And that's the truth. We've not had it this bad. It's a terrible situation. What the president promised in 2015 is not what we are seeing today. He promised to put an end to banditry, to put an end to Boko Haram insurgency and all of that. And Nigerians, voted for him, believing that as an ex-military general, you'll be able to put things together and put an end. But for crying out loud, insurgency is on the increase. Kidnapping is on the increase. Just 3 days ago, less than 50 kilometers from my house, some suspected Fulani kidnappers were arrested. Now that gives me the creeps. That less than 50 kilometers from my house, where I live, banditry is getting nearer. And we're talking of the southwest Nigeria. These are terrible times. I guess those who wrote that speech for the Mr. President, I don't want to say they were dreaming. They were probably hallucinating. when they wrote that speech. It's not correct. It's not the true position of things in Nigeria. Nigeria is worse off than when Mr. President came on board. So that's the truth.
So we can consider President's speech as irony, right?
Well, that's probably one of the ways to describe the speech. Of course, I don't expect a politician of his status to say anything less. Or if nobody is praising you, you have to praise yourself. So he's doing what every ordinary leader would like to do.
Now, when you look at I'm glad that you may mention that you are in the ruling party, and at the same time, when we look at why, because I remember when the campaign was going on back when he was doing his first time, and why people did not vote for Jonathan was just because they felt Jonathan tenure was kind of full of corruption, and all over the world, everybody knows that this thing happened then during the Bring Back Our Girls started with that. And I remember what the president said at that time, that what is Boko Haram? We're going to deal with them under a few days. Without confidence that we have, and they promise us change, but they actually deliver change, because everything in Nigeria has changed. What has never happened has changed us. So we are all living in a changed world. So what will you say with? I asked you a question last time. Why is it that when the politicians are making promises and during the campaign, their manifestos are so big, you will see and you will raise hope. But the moment they attend that seat, everything just disappears. What is the problem? And who are the one ruling Nigeria?
Well, let me start by refusing to exonerate President Goodluck Jonathan in this whole mess. If Jonathan had done the right thing, Buhari wouldn't have come in. That's the truth. So while we are blaming Buhari, we must remember how things went bad and sour during the times of President Goodluck Jonathan, with the massive corruption that took place, even though, well, things have not gotten better now. I must confess, things have not gotten better. But the massive corruption at that time was unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. And, that made Nigerians became, let me use the word, became gullible and wanted a change anyhow. And that was exactly what brought Mr. President in at that time. But be that as it may, let me put it this way. The Nigerian political class, yes, must take a larger chunk of the blame for where we have gotten ourselves to. However, I must also quickly point out that every nation gets the kind of government it deserves. Every nation, every people gets the kind of government they deserve. So, you will ask me, do Nigerians deserve this kind of government? My answer is yes and no. Why am I saying yes? Yes, because the voting culture of Nigerians, the voting culture of this country is still terribly poor. President Muhammad Buhari won this election with about 14 million or thereabout votes. Out of the number of people that registered to vote, Nigeria has a total of about 72 million voters. And if out of 72 million voters, a president wins election with 14 million, that's incredible. That's incredible. That shows that what brought President Buhari in, or those who brought President Buhari in, still remains the minority. So something must be done, especially in the southern states of Nigeria. The southwest is is guilty. The Southwest is guilty. Is guilty. Imagine a state like Lagos turning in 600,000 votes. Why should Lagos, with about 6 million or 5 million voters, why should Lagos turn in 600,000 votes? That's something wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. So we need to change our orientation towards voting. Nigerians need to change their attitude towards voting and ensure that in the next election, we turn out massively, either to keep this party or to vote the party out. It's a choice that Nigerians must take. It's a choice that we must take. And apart from that, I've come to a conclusion. I don't know whether I said it during the last edition of our program, of this program, that I've identified 3 categories of voters in Nigeria: the conscious voters, the commercial voters, and the controlled voters. The conscious voters, the commercial voters, and the conscious voters. Now, this is my analysis, and very simple. The conscious voters form the majority, and they usually belong to the elites and the middle class, the educated. A larger percentage of the population, they belong to the conscious voters. They know what is right to do, but they hardly vote. The commercial voters are those, the minority, who are willing to sell their votes. This is not a very good group. Unfortunately, they form the majority during elections. A minority that becomes the majority during elections. And so they take decisions. And that's why you find out that Nigerian politicians are in a dilemma. And what's the dilemma? The dilemma of meeting the needs of commercial voters. The dilemma of meeting the needs of commercial voters. The average politician knows that conscious voters are not reliable. Conscious voters are not reliable because they may not or they won't vote. Those who will vote are the commercial voters. So what does the politician do? He goes around to look for money at all costs to meet the needs of the commercial voters. No wonder stomach infrastructure has become a policy. It has almost become a written policy in Nigeria, that if you must succeed as a politician in Nigeria, you must do stomach infrastructure. Why should that be? Because those who are voting belong more to the commercial voters class. That must change. There must be a revival. There must be a revolution. A revolution where a politician can win election without having to do stomach infrastructure. A politician can win election based on his antecedents, based on his capacities, based on his capabilities, based on his integrity, not based on the stomach infrastructure he has done. The average cost of winning an election by a governor in Nigeria today is between 4 to 5 billion naira. To win the governorship election of a state in Nigeria, it runs between 4 to 5 billion naira. In some states, it could be as high as 6 billion. Now, that's a lot of money. Who does that kind of business? Who does that kind of business and is not interested in making profits? So if that is the situation, if that is the system that we are running, we have a long way to go. So I want to recommend that for Nigeria to move forward, conscious voters must arise. A revolution of conscious voters must take place. Thank you.
So when we talk about the conscious voters and what about the commercialized voters that you are talking about? I remember back in the last election where they were talking about somebody, allegedly say somebody, delivering money to people through bullion van and everything. And we see all those kind of malpractices everywhere, whereby so what would you say, how about the way to actually correct the commercial voters and the people that are also instigating that kind of attitude?
The way out the way you can't stop the politicians, you can't blame the politicians who are doing stomach infrastructures, who are spending money to buy vote, because over years they have realized that that seems to be the joker. That seems to be the joker. Now, it is the Nigerian people. That's why I said every nation gets the kind of government it deserves. It is the Nigerian people that must arise. The day a poor man will contest election and win, that is the turning around for Nigeria. That will be the point.
Then how would the poor man win election?
I will tell you. It's a long journey. But I keep on saying that the conscious voters, they are more in population. Let me give an example, a practical example. In my constituency, the first time I contested the election, in my constituency, there were 52,000 voters, registered voters, 52,000 registered to vote. By the time the votes were counted, the winner went with 4,100 votes. The winner went with 4,100 votes out of 52,000 voters. When all the votes were counted, they were just in a little excess of 10,000. Now that means 42,000 people did not vote. That's the genesis of the problem. And I can assure you, a larger percentage of those who did not vote belong to this category that I'm talking about, the conscious voters. It has to start somehow. There are other political parties that are not winning elections simply because they don't have the cash to throw around. Who are those collecting the cash? Are they not people in the neighborhood? It's so sad that in Nigeria today, you can do all kinds of things in your neighborhood. You can be a good guy who runs around, do coaching classes for people, do this free of charge for the people, serve the community, serve the people, and yet the same people that you are serving will refuse to vote for you because you are not going to exchange cash. Now, so who is to blame? If in your community, somebody has been working assiduously, if there's NEPA failure, there's blackout, he stands his ground and goes to NEPA office to go and make complaints and, get this done, get that done, gives scholarship to young people in the community, gives them this kind of thing, does that, serving the community. He's in the landlords association. Everybody knows him, that he's a good guy. But because he doesn't have money to throw around, people refuse to vote for him. Then who is to blame? So it's the people. So the people, we will get to a point where people will rise one day and say, Mr. Man, we want you to become our representative. We don't need your money. We will fund you. We will contribute our 1,000. We will contribute our 2,000. We will contribute our 5,000. Go there and represent us. We will get to that point. We will get to that point. Desperation, exasperation, and when we are tired, we will get to that point.
Do you think Nigeria is ready for youth government?
Please come again.
Do you think Nigeria is ready for youth government? Right, there are nations that are saying now they've done things, and they see, their own is just like, okay, how they can have women, any woman to lead them, But in our own case right now, we want to get, the proposal of young, not too young to rule. Do you think Nigerians youth are actually ready to be in government?
Pastor Femi Ojo, the Constitution is explicit.
Explain.
Youth, the Constitution is explicit enough. The minimum age for a member of the House of Assembly is as low as 25. For the governor of the state, it's 35. The present speaker The present Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly is in his 30s. So there is room for young people to excel in government and in politics. The current governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, became the governor when he was less than 40. There is room for young people to do exploit. Unfortunately, young people have this, I don't agree with young people. They have this concept that, oh, let the whole people go and sit down. Sit down how? Why should they sit down? That's not constitutional. That's not constitutional. That's not correct. I will not agree with any young person who says the whole people should go and sit down. No, I disagree. Power is not given. Power is not dashed. It's not a gift. The nations that you are talking about, where young people are in government, where people are young people are doing this, but they didn't go and just say, oh, okay, because you are young, come and be our president. No nation says that kind of thing. Say, oh, because you are young, come and be our president. The question is, the issue is that the young man walked himself to the top. So every young person, they're on the 40s, they're on the 30s, should stand up and do the right thing. The young guy in Oyo State, who is the speaker, I can't remember his name, who is the speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, in his early 30s, for crying out loud. So if Oyo State can allow that, who says young people cannot do exploit? Young people can do exploit, but they must understand that power is not served a la carte. And power is not a gift. It is not dashed. It is an achievement. So rise up and do something. Get involved. You are not involved and you are complaining. You are complaining. They are not allowing young people. They are not allowing young people. How will they allow them? They will come to your father's house to come and pick you. It's not done anywhere. You must get involved. So I counsel and I join all the young people, go and get involved. Get your voter's card. Get your party card. Are you a member of a political party? Are you actively participating in that party? Or you are just waiting one day for all the old men to die? Or something will just happen, one miracle will just happen and remove all the old people so that young people can take charge. It will never happen. It will never happen. So the young shall grow, but the old shall also grow. Thank you.
So, like Oyo State Speaker, Honorable Debo
Ogudoyin, yes.
Now, as I speak with you, right? I know when you look at all those people that you have said, Dino Melaye became a senator at his 40s. I mean, at his 40s too as well. Saraki, who happened to be former Senate president, was also came to that seat when he at his 40s. At the same time, I can make mention of a couple of people like that. Desmond Elliott, one of the honorable in Lagos State, he's also at his 40s too as well. But with all these people that we are talking about, with the youth that are being in power or that are being in the politics, still we cannot feel their impact. They are not, their voice is still being ostracized. They are just still like, if you can't beat them, you join them. It is now when they get out of that place, they now start talking about, okay, what they didn't do or what they should have done. And now, while they were there, they were also there, they were also there with their presence not really fair. They got carried away with the goodies in the house. What will you say to that?
Now, Pastor Femi, I do not believe that what will solve the problem of Nigeria is the involvement of young people. I disagree. Whether you are young, whether you are old, if you are good, you are good. If you are bad, you are bad. What makes you good or bad is not age. It's not age that makes a man good or bad. There are young people who are good. There are young people who are bad. There are old people who are good. There are old people who are bad. So let's stop this, the youth. No. This is what the Bible says. Righteousness exalts a nation. It didn't say autocracy or gerontocracy. It's not autocracy that exalts a nation. It is righteousness that exalts a nation, doing things the right way. Until we learn to do things the right way. And that has to be inculcated even in the young generation. Who are the ones doing Yahoo, and all kinds of, courtesan, do courtesan, kill this, kill that, banditry? Who are those involved? Are they not the youths? So it is, I don't subscribe to, the youth must take over. No, I don't want the youth to take over. I don't want the old to take over. I want righteous people to take over. Now that righteous person can be as young as 20 and can be as old as 80. I want a righteous man in government. I want somebody who knows how to do things right. Not just because he's young. No, it could be 20, I don't care. It could be 30, I don't care. It could be 80, I don't care. All I care is righteousness. Doing things the right way. So can we stop all this noise of let the youth take over? Just like you have said, we have seen many young people. Was it not the senator that went into a toy shop and was misbehaving in the sex toy shop in Abuja? Is that not a young man? In actual fact, the youngest senator in Nigeria went to a sex toy shop and was slapping, attendants there. What are we talking about? So it's not about young people. What we don't need young people, we don't need old people, we need righteous people. Thank you.
When you look at fighting corruption, your party said they want to fight corruption. And from all look of things, they are still fighting. And I've heard somebody said, if you cross from another party to current party to the ruling party, your sins will be forgiven. No matter how much bad you have been, your sins will be forgiven. Now, and honestly, people have been cross-carpeting and just doing it, and for real, their sins were forgiven. That is to me, I would say, is a slap over the nation. Number one. Number two, the people that they called and they push a case forward to the court. If you are not in the ruling party, or you don't have, or they don't care about you, rather you use you as a sacrificial lamb, so that at least they know that we are doing something, But other ones that have real issue are we just heard about them. And the next thing we just know, the whole thing is just, no more issue, no more talk about them. Now, in fighting that same corruption, all the money that they have collected from Dasuki Gate to Abacha loot, whatever, everything, where are those money gone down to? And yet Nigeria is still borrowing. And yet we are still fighting.
Pastor Femi. Hello, Pastor Femi.
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you what my late father said about 10 years ago while making a comparison between APC and PDP? This is what my late father had to say. He said APC and PDP are Siamese twins. He said they are Siamese twins. The problem with Nigeria is not the party, it's the people. It's the people. And you will agree with me that the people in PDP are not different from the people in APC. So the problem that we saw in PDP is the same problem we are seeing here. And so it is not a change of party that is the solution. It is this change of the system. The system. bring another party tomorrow. Please, sir, go and bring another party. Call that party any name. Call the party something Republican Party of Nigeria. Call it any name. I bet it with you, we will run around in a circle because the system remains the same. Show me one politician in Nigeria that has not rigmaroled between PDP and APC, or has not rigmaroled around, or does not have connection. Now, does it mean that when a man leaves PDP and joins APC, he's now a new creature? All things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Is it not the same human being? So nothing has actually changed. So if we change party, it's like putting a clean cloth on a madman. You put a clean cloth on a madman and you are expecting, what are you expecting? In a few days, the cloth will be turned to rags. So what should you do before you put a clean cloth on a madman? You must heal him of his madness. That's when putting new clothes on him can make any sense. And that's exactly what we are doing in Nigeria. We're putting new clothes on the madman. And so we're getting the same results. We're getting the same results. So there's a total need to change, to overhaul the system we're operating. There's no way this system encourages corruption. So when this present government was coming in, they shouted, they did all the things they can do. We will fight corruption. They have not been able to fight corruption. It's getting worse. Not because it is APC, but because there's an endemic problem. The systemic problem. The system is wrong. A system that brings in people into office by highest bidding is a wrong system. There's no way that system can be corrupt-free. The government of that country can never be corrupt-free. Because what brings that government into power is commerce, is commercial. And so nobody trades and does not profit. So there's nothing anybody can do about it. There will be corruption until we overhaul this system. Wrong system. Thank you.
Do you think that's going to be 2023?
Hello?
Do you think there's going to be election in 2023?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Do you think there's going to be election in 2023?
That's a difficult question. That's a difficult one. Even the best of prophets shouldn't answer that question. The best of prophets might not be able to answer that question. Things are hazy, very easy. And in politics, we say 24 hours is too long. 24 hours is too long in politics. So you never can tell. However, I may be wrong, but I think the election will hold. I think the election will hold. Why am I saying that? The indices does not show that Nigerian people are ready for otherwise. It doesn't look as if we are ready for otherwise. I think the election will hold, and it's better that we hold the election and vote out the wrong set of leaders and move forward. However, at the same time, this agitation for self-government, this agitation for restructuring, you never can tell where it will reach. I don't want to predict. Thank you.
When you look, okay, as we are looking at what is going to happen in 2023, there is also going on the issue of where the presidency should come from in about zoning. So
sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Looks as if.
Can you hear me now?
All right.
Okay. Now, we're talking about the zoning, where the presidency is going to come from. All right. So where do you think, or what do you feel with the way they are doing the zoning thing, where the president should come from? Should they come from the south, or should they come from the west or east, or still remain in the north? Can you hear me?
Pastor Femi, I don't know what is going wrong, but your voice seems faint.
Okay. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Now, right now. Okay, let me come again.
Yeah.
I said, when you look at the zoning of the presidency, where do you think that should come from right now? Is it from the south, north, east, or west? What do you think?
Well, it appears to me that the North might concede the presidency. The agitation for self-rule, the agitation for restructuring is on the I side. And the little I know about the Northerners, the Northern oligarchy, they know how to play their coins. They know how to play the ball. Therefore, I suspect very strongly that the presidency will be zoned to the south. Now, southwest or east, I may not be able to predict accurately. However, we know that recently PDP is toying with the idea of having his chairman, the National Party chairman from the north. Now, if that happens, that's a signal that PDP will shop in the south for his presidential candidate. And if PDP is going to shop its presidential candidate from the south, APC will not commit a blunder of putting a northern candidate against a southern candidate. That would be suicidal. Every politician knows that that's suicidal. So I guess very strongly that APC will not commit that blunder. So APC will equally shop in the south for its president. So I see the presidential candidate of the two major gladiators coming from the same zone. I suspect very strongly the southwest. I suspect very strongly the southwest.
So when you look at that with the southwest issue, and so if it doesn't come from southwest, that means what would be the second area that you think it might be able to host the president?
I didn't get that.
If it's not from southwest, let's just say our second choice, let's just say it's not from southwest, where will it be the second seat of power, or where the president is going to come from?
Well, with what is happening in the southeast, I do not think the northern oligarchy will trust anybody from the southeast with power. The southeast appears to be a theater of war now and a theater of agitations, much more than what is happening in the southwest. The southwest is still a bit placable, but the southeast appears to be hell-bent, the home of IPOB and others. So I do not think that the oligarchy, the ruling class, will trust the southeast. So if it is not from the southwest, I do not see it coming from the southeast. I do not see it. I do not see it.
So what can we do now last time we talked about fatherism in the politics?
Well, godfatherism is an international concept. It's there. Even in the Bible, there's godfatherism. There was our sister called Esther. He had a godfather. You remember? Mordecai. Mordecai was the one who got INEC form for her. Mordecai was the one who got posters for her. Mordecai was the one who sponsored a campaign. Mordecai was the one who financed a campaign. And so when she became the president, let me use that language. When she became the president, Mordecai had the guts to walk up to her and tell her what to do. There's no way that you will rule. You can't rule out godfatherism. This is what we should be talking about. We should be talking about godfathers who have the love and the desire for greatness of the nation at heart. So the word Godfather is not completely a bad idea. Godfathers can raise, Godfathers can mentor. I like to even use the word mentor. For example, I have mentors in the political in the political field. I have my mentors. So you cannot rule out Godfatherism in politics. It's an entrenched part of politics anywhere in the world. Anyway.
Okay. As we draw the curtain of this discussion, you want to tell me what should be the expectation of Nigerians, not youth now, of Nigerian, in order for us to have free and fair election, and for us to have the right people in power as we approach 2023.
Okay, yes, we can have free and fair election, although to think that we will have 100% free and fair election is a mirage. It may not be 100%, but to a large extent, we can have free and fair election. I also think that the Nigerian people must be able to rise up and stand. What the youths did at Lekki End SARS protest is commendable. It's commendable. I wish that same effort can be drawn on the day of elections. The young people stood in front of armored tanks. They withstood armored tanks and did all that they did at Lekki toll gates. But a few weeks later, an election was held in Lagos State. A senatorial election was held in Lagos State. And the same youths who stood up to face armored tanks slept in their houses as the election were going on. That's misplaced priority. That's misplaced priority. Why are we active in protests? But when it comes to elections, we are docile. Something is wrong. I would rather be active during election than during protests. The Nigerian young people, the Nigerian youth seems to be more interested in protests than active participation in politics. Unfortunately, that will not work. Getting interested in protest, we no go agree, we no go agree, we no go agree. No, it won't work that way. There are better ways of changing things. And I think being part of government is far, 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 far better than being part of protest. My father, my late father, was an activist. An activist, president of the Student Union 1978, Ali must go. My father led the nationwide, protest, Ali must go. While my father participated in government, my father said to me, and that's very instructive, that what he had been able to achieve in government in 8 years of participating in government, he couldn't achieve in all his life of protests. What he was able to achieve, the changes he was able to make in his state, all his years of protest, he couldn't achieve, close to 1% of it. And that's instructive. So which means young people, we can have a lot of changes. We can do a lot in government if we participate in government than protests. That's my message to young of this generation. Thank you.
Are you looking forward to get back to politics? I mean, as in holding any official position in this coming election or year to come?
I've been in politics since 2007, and I have never opted out of politics. I'm still very much active in politics even now. Yes, 2023, like I said, we cannot make pronouncements now. We can't make pronouncements now. There are a lot of things to consider before taking a decision of 2023 or not. But in the next few months, from now, decisions has to be taken. actions must start rolling because we are in the year before the election. So from January 2023, we'll begin to know where we are going. I will begin to see glimpses. And then we can, at that point, take bold decisions. Thank you.
We look forward to see you as you make changes and in the world, and most especially in Nigeria, as we need to also encourage all our youth around. Where I think we need to get a campaign right now to encourage more youth to vote, to start registering themselves in order to be able to vote. When you register yourself, registering is not enough, but stepping out to go and vote and stand by your vote. Not only that, if you are also interested in just joining politics, if you don't step out, the fools will step out and the fools will rule. And that's just only thing, because those are the people that they see, and the same people that will be there. So we will not have any reason to say, oh, blame them. We need to educate people about what the 3 C's that you said, those 3 C's, I think we need to continue to bring it out, make it a song, act it in the drum. Thank God you're an actor. So why that one is going, what is it that we actually also act, all those things that we see that is wrong in Nigeria? Is the government funding the gospel artists, the gospel film makers too as well? Why is it that they don't? Your group, your group as an artist, do not ask those questions that we have just talked about, how to encourage people to vote. Because in drama, it will speak more volume as well.
Well, we must distinguish between the Ministry of Evangelical Drama and the passion for politics. I am not just an actor. I am a preacher of God's word using drama. That notwithstanding, so you might want to excuse our bias for preaching, our bias for evangelism through movies. You may appreciate our bias. However, recent developments have proved that what you have said is needful. The need to educate the population using this same method. So in the next few weeks or in the next few months, I'll be doing some projections. I'll be doing some productions, short movies on politics and in the involvement of Christians in politics. So I can promise that in the next year, 2022, we will roll out some short movies that has to do with politics. So please.
Thank you so much. I believe that will also be a powerful tool to all our youth on, and also encourage all those who love watch drama, because they need to get that concept too as well. So if we do this, it will also change us. We don't have to be follow just one way. And I pray, because Bible says even the people of these days are also wise in their own ways. So let's be wise in our own way. Let's use another ways to be also secure the nation too as well. Thank you so much for being my guest today, and I hope we have been able to address some of national issues and to also as we also celebrate 61 years of Nigeria Independence Day. I pray Nigeria that is crawling today will rise up tomorrow and start walking and get up from that area that is making us to be crawling, in Jesus' name. Thank you so much. I want to thank you so much for coming today, and I also look forward to see you again whenever we need you. When the campaign starts, we'll also get back together again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Until I come your way, everyone, next time, I still remain Femi Ojo, the convener of this program, the update. And I always want to thank you so much for watching us. Stay blessed and remain rapturable when Jesus shall come. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our page on Facebook. Maybe I should tell you this too as well, that by God's grace, our church will be, here, hosting a program, Fresh Fire, coming up October 15 to 16. I want you to be there. Join us online. If you are not in Utah, join us online. And if you are in Utah, make sure take time to attend, and it's going to be a wonderful time. And I promise you, it's going to be a wonderful time. God will bless you even as you come. And lastly, I just want for those that are in Salt Lake City, most especially this Saturday coming, there's going to be what I call free shopping. Free shopping is another program that we just got, and this Saturday is going to be first of its kind. We have a couple of items that are that you will come around and look around and just take it. They are all free and don't brand new. I must tell you, they are all brand new. And I just want to tell you let you know that when the time comes, hey, those things will not stay for too long, because I know there are people that will be coming to us as well. So first come, first serve, and the Lord bless you in Jesus' mighty name. Until I come your way this next time, I remain Femi Ojo right here on this program called The Update. Thank you, and God bless.